Slice of life is a term I'd never heard of before anime. Describing a relaxed, no-frills approach to content, it's also known as being fucking boring. What is slice of life anyway? I thought that was when a samurai cuts someone in half and they slowly fall down. Really, it's about the mundane moments in life. Much like a prisoner is trapped in a cycle of looping days without end, you too can watch it and slip into madness. The first ever slice of life was reality, which makes a lot of sense. Answering the age-old philosophical debate of what it truly means to live. According to anime, it's going to Japanese high school and making paper by exploiting child labour. The actual definition refers to everyday experiences, which technically makes Goku killing aliens a slice of life, as that's all he ever does. I began researching slice of life anime, and I even watched some, and I'll tell you what, I hated it. As long-time viewers know, based on, well, you know, how I am, I'm quite possibly the biggest hater in all of anime, joining the halls of hater legends such as 50 Cent and Dante the Poet. I came to the realisation that based on how nice everyone is, slice of life is basically Mormon anime. This led me to come up with the idea that throughout the video, I'm going to give my own versions of slice of life anime that are all going to be big money, I assure you. Please don't steal them. Number 1. Moe. This was a shock for me. I thought Moe was the barman in The Simpsons, but it's actually about weird shaped heads, I think. The definition is an anime that focuses on youth, purity and innocence. I hit that VPN button so fast on my computer that whoever was in the way was simply obliterated. I don't want there to be a misunderstanding, Mr. Starmer. I was going to make fun of them, not join them. This is not a genre. I don't care who says it. If a slice of life's only selling point is that the characters are cute, then you could film 4 hours of raw bunny hopping footage and call it a snuff film. My first move in studying Moe was, of course, to commission CT scans on their cranial cavities. There's no way they could produce enough grey matter to fill that hole, stuffing the rest with packing peanuts and bubble wrap. They look like Japan was hit by a sudden burst of radiation by an errant solar flare directly from the sun. If these girls went to war, they'd be devastated by an average sniper. Look at them. He couldn't miss. He could let off a misfire and still hit the target. He could fire a warning shot into the sky and still inflict a casualty. I wonder what kind of people watch Moe anime exclusively, and I settled on 2 main groups. The first being young people. Of course, it all makes sense. The second being people who are really, really, really into pragmata. Number 2. Garden of Eden. Slice of life anime often inhabit the middle ground between heaven and the Japanese suburbs. Living in a world, carefree and beautiful, not unlike that seen by puppies, the residents of slice of life rarely see how good they have it, and it does not reflect everyday life. I'm sorry to break the bad news, but Japan isn't an idyllic wonderland, but it's just like where you live, except they speak funny and write like doctors. Yes, I can make that joke. As you can tell, my voice is one cider away from alright. I can't write anyway, as, of course, I am a wolf, and I do not have posable thumbs. Anime characters in each slice of life often have nightmarish problems completely unrelatable to most of us, such as, "Oh, I forgot my yummy bento box made by my mummy," or having friends. Effectively living in a world as peaceful as the moon, it's the small things in slice of life anime that provide the drama. "Oh no, Tatsumi lost his eraser!" This is such a ground-shattering piece of high-stakes tension that it becomes a three-parter and ends on a season cliffhanger before he slowly reaches down and just picks it up. Number 3. Dorklets. A dorklet is another wolfism. You see, a dorklet is part of the weird friend group that you find in schools, which, don't get me wrong, I led at my school like fucking Moses, uniting the lost tribes into an entire network of little freaks. Fun fact, I was actually there when Moses pissed stuff up the hill to get the commandments. Once he was gone, I managed to get everyone to all worship a golden idol of me. It wasn't a goat like the Bible said, it was just me trying my best at sculpting. Cool people are not very interesting. That's a fact, I'm afraid. Ask one what they do for fun, and they will give you nothing. Not even a weird collection or a room dedicated to a very specific niche anime character. I personally think it's extremely disrespectful when anime tries to have cool people in slice of lives. Excuse me, no, that's our thing. We get the slice of life positions and you get to make your parents proud. That's always been the agreement. I saw that one about dancing where this guy pretends like dancing nowadays is embarrassing and not cool. As the certified unk that I am, when I first opened TikTok, it was all entirely dancing. I thought I died and been reborn in a fucking musical. The British show In-Betweeners is the best example of a slice of life anime, weirdly, and the existence of Dorklets. Also, don't watch the American version. Here's the same scene on the two different versions.
Throwing a football.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, it's time for one of my first slice of life ideas. I hope you enjoy it. My cartel beheading snafu. Ichi goes to Mexico and makes a poor decision in insulting Dragon Ball Z and finds himself potentially being executed of this grave crime and posted online for people to enjoy. Join Ichi and his new friends as they chat about their lives as they wait for the last person to insult Goku be dissolved in a giant acid vat. Number 4. Narrative structure. That's a bit of an odd gripe for shows designed to be about everyday occurrences, and thus a narrative structure is kind of obsolete. How about fuck off? As a proto-autist, one of the first to be spawned into the universe, I like structure. Schools being prime structured environments, so when a slice of life is not set in a school, it really messes with my head. Imagine being employed. Romance is often used as an overarching plot point, but much like harems, they refuse to go anywhere. If I was dropped into a fun, rom-com slice of life, it would be indistinguishable from a time loop. A great idea for a slice of life anime, by the way. Another Wolf certified Big Think. Researching for the video, I couldn't believe how many shows are technically slice of life, and I reject that entirely. Rent a Girlfriend, for example. I hadn't watched it, nor did I intend to for the harem video, because the clips I used were fucking embarrassing, and so I decided to do some research. Oh, here's another Wolf patented NSQ, or as I call them, neurodivergent side quests. Was Rent a Girlfriend the first name, or was Book a Prostitute taken? Sorry, that was rude of me. Based on the main character, it should really be called Make a Wish, as that's what the girls must feel like when they turn up to see him dressed as John Cena. I have never experienced a character I less identify with than this cretin. I've passed globules of shit with more moxie. Oh, fuck it. Side quest 1. Rent a Girlfriend. Renting partners is actually a thing in Japan, but rather than shag them like any respecting people, they just go home after buying them drinks. I know, right? The idea of host clubs is a strange thing, I imagine, for many of you. They're kind of like strip clubs, but without any of the good bits. You pay for the host time with tips and buying food and drinks that they get a cut of, whilst you talk to them and they pretend to flirt with you. It's quite sad, actually. But then again, it's hard to get people to listen to me speak. I even created a YouTube channel to do it, so, actually, it's a great idea. I take it back. The prospect of having a beautiful person be forced to sit there as I explain the entirety of the Horus Heresy book series, and they being powerless to stop me, sounds really funny. Yes, Hannah-chan, the time is getting on, but we've not even reached the Dropside Massacre on Istvan 4. Host clubs are especially popular with women, seeing it as a fun alternative to having to deal with a boyfriend, which, seeing as I was just talking about finding ways to make someone learn Warhammer lore against their will, I think it may be extremely justified. Women, I think, understand the transactional nature of flirting with a handsome man. Men go to a place like Hooters, which, for the record, could have been a subsection to this NSQ. They'll be called Hun by the waitress, and then proceed to spend the rest of the meal wondering what their life would be like together, owning a ranch, 4 kids and a dog. I think I'm too proud to rent a girlfriend. I think the idea is that he's trying to demonstrate to his mum that he has a girlfriend, which is pretty desperate. Mother Wolf has entirely given up on that entirely, just assuming I'm going to be alone forever. Aww. The answer to rent a girlfriend's dilemma is pretty simple, and something that all men can fall back on if all else goes wrong. That's right, an internet Asian bride. Oh, wait. What do Asian men do if they can't find an Asian bride on the internet? Hold on. Allow me to ruminate on this in the wolf cave of discerning thought. Oh, yeah, they're fucked. Yeah, keep renting girlfriends, mate. Best of luck. I've just made myself sad, realising that at this point, the most appealing thing about me is my British passport. Anyway, back to the main quest line. Number 5. Cafes. Most slice-of-life anime in the workplace are almost exclusively cafes. Have you ever noticed that? Can't even be made a monstrous ghoul and escape it. Before the trade of coffee beans, slice-of-life characters just sat around impoverished. The fact that there's not been a British tea shop anime is quite frankly a fucking travesty, though the serving of cakes and scones is quite normal. It still counts as cultural appropriation though, right up there with minstrel shows. It's downright offensive. They don't even have an elderly woman in the corner who hasn't smiled since the war, Kathy whose card keeps declining, and a scally outside in the dead of summer wearing a balaclava waiting to steal your phone. I don't know why they dress as Victorians. This has been in every trope video, a reference to the Japanese wearing maid and waitress outfits with bonnets like a baby. What's so good about Victorian times anyway? Isambard Kingdom Brunel? Half the cafe staff crawl under coal power machinery in their other job for a cot at the workhouse. If there was a sudden outbreak of cholera in Tokyo, I'd know exactly where to look for the contaminated well. These cafes often seem to have very lax laws surrounding child labour, and the exact reason I'm starting up wolf cafes in Japan soon. Mainly because I don't have to pay them a living wage. I'll just give them a cartoon of juice and tell them to get back to fucking work. Oh, I've got another slice of life idea. Would you like to hear it? How to pick up chicks in a morgue. The answer is with a slab that has wheels on. Join Tanji as he finds love and laughter with the departed spirits of those trapped in the husks of their mortal vessels. Tanji falls for Emily-kun, but, her mean dad and brother are awaiting you in the afterlife to beat you up. So Tanji has to get some advice from the other corpses, but also how to love. Spoiler, Tanji ends up in prison for defiling a corpse. Number 6. Coming of age. What's my favourite coming of age? MILFs, I think. Oh, anime. I don't want to hear another story about the leap to adulthood. It's too depressing to consider. For youngsters, it's the constant rollercoaster of emotions and expectations of the future. It's exciting and terrifying all the while. Seeing these characters bridge that gap themselves creates a level of connection with the show and often leads them to emit nostalgia and comfort years on. How many times do I have to watch an anime with the conclusion it's going to be alright? No, it's not. It's going to get worse. It's going to get way worse. Have you not seen the news? You guys are fucked. I'll be dead soon and I'm also a cartoon animal. I don't really have to deal with it, but you guys, I mean, good luck. Good luck for real. Here's a little insight into life from me, your boy. You will never feel grown up. It's terrible. You are just still you and suddenly have to pay tax. Adults are basically just children who have to pay for potholes to be fixed, but they never are. Number 7. Transfer student. All slice of life, at least to me, are catalysed by the transfer student industrial complex. When I was at school, the only people who transferred were travellers and those who committed violent crimes. The idea of someone arriving is an easy place to start a story, as they too have to learn about their new classmates. They never explain why they've transferred. It's not like football where they've been brought in on loan from Watford. I hate it when they are forced to stand at the front of the class and introduce themselves. Then he'd just bumble around like nice to meet you and bow. Nah, I'm alright. I'll treat it like prison and punch the nearest one I see. Foreign exchange students are also quite common and assimilate far too well. The teacher would be like,
はるばる、どこから回答くださったんですけ？ウルフ警部でしたす。ぜひクラスの皆さんへの自己紹介をお願いします。
and I'd be like, I don't understand you. Where are the subtitles? Number 8. Caught you lacking. I think the term is tonal whiplash, but I prefer mine. A story where things have a light tone or filled with levity, only for it to be jerked in another direction, like good Jamaican chicken. They think they're being all slick, being charming, only to be like, actually, the world isn't perfect. They expect me to act all surprised. The last time I had to feign ignorance so hard was when the investigator asked what happened to the 2 other little pigs and their poorly constructed abodes. Slice of Life can do well at switching it up on people, but I think we can leave it well enough alone. I don't want that stress in my life. I don't want to be watching a show about the daily lives of penguins, jumping from iceberg to iceberg, singing and dancing, only for Hime-chan, the princess penguin, to have a fentanyl overdose on episode 8. Just let me decompress, please. I'm not a spring. Authors think they're being all slick when they start decapitating primary school children for no reason. The forums and Reddit were completely filled with these people reliving their trauma and being reminded about all of these different anime. It was like walking into the medical tent at Stalingrad. My next one. Who are you calling a primate? Another high school drama, but this time 2 brothers arrive at the same school and are sat next to each other. But what's worse is that one is a meek Japanese schoolboy and the other is a ferocious chimp. What wacky adventures will they get up to, and how will they stop Chimp-chan from being put down by animal control after the whole baby throwing incident? Number 9. Adoption. Adopting children is a fixture of the slice of life genre. The idea of looking after a child is seen as a relaxing and wholesome experience. Clearly, they've never been around one. I'd have a new slice of life advertised as the next great soothing anime, only to play screaming babies for 23 minutes, followed by an outro made up of, yep, you guessed it, more screaming babies, but this time auto-tuned. Probably something like this. Whilst you do get the occasional In Our World adoption show, it's in fantasy worlds when it really shines. Mainly because there's no paper trail to track kidnapped babies. You got me fucked up if you think I'm going to take a break from killing monsters and shagging wizards to look after a child. That's a full-time job. How am I supposed to fight beasts if there's a kid pissing down my back? Or worse still, have them on my back like a little Yoda, forgetting they're there and then fully committing to a heavy armour Dark Souls combat role. That little bastard is going to look like lasagna when I peel them off the floor. I interviewed people I know who have children, and they described it as basically a nightmare, with maybe 20 minutes a day of peace. Now, put that in a world without modern medicine and rampant dysentery. I'd adopt like 10, as there's no way half of them are going to make it through winter. I think I'd have a small army of them if I was going to commit to it, put them out in the fields to work the land. Passing carriages would think I was running a fucking plantation. Wasn't that fun? Tell you what, you've been a good little lad or lass, but if you don't like and subscribe, I'm not going to feed you.